While we may applaud the individual stars of our sport of cycling, the fact is that no rider can be successful at the top level without the support of a strong team. In this video, we look at 5 teams that have had such strength in depth that they've helped rewrite the record books and change the course of cycling history. Some for better, some for worse. Founded in 2010 with lofty ambitions of winning Grand Tours, Team Sky have been particularly influential in what is arguably the biggest and definitely the most watched race in the cycling calendar, the Tour de France. Their first yellow jersey came in 2012 through Bradley Wiggins, and they've added 4 more with Chris Froome since then. The British squad has a big budget and a wealth of talent to call on, and they've polarised opinion among the cycling public. Are they revolutionising the sport or killing it? In the early to mid-2000s, US Postal dominated the Tour de France, and at the head of their ranks was the infamous Lance Armstrong, who won a record 7 yellow jerseys between 1999 and 2005. Back when we didn't know any better, it was plain to see that Armstrong, as well as his team, were considerably stronger than anyone else at the Tour, aided by loyal domestiques like George Hincapie, Levi Leipheimer and Tyler Hamilton. However, in 2012, the US Anti-Doping Agency released the report that contained statements from a total of 11 riders that had ridden previously for US Postal, exposing the details of what they called the most sophisticated, professional and successful doping program the sport has ever seen. The report prompted the UCI to strip Armstrong of his 7 Tour de France titles and banning him from the sport for life, leaving a permanent black mark on cycling's record books. The UCI's number 1 ranked cycling team between 1994 and 2000, Mapei was home to some of the greatest riders of that generation. Johan Museeuw, Michele Bartoli, Andrea Tafi, Franco Ballerini, Frank Vandenbroeck and a young Paolo Bettini. The list goes on and on. The team excelled in particular at the Spring Classics, with this photo from the 1996 edition of Paris-Roubaix encapsulating Mapei's dominance, as Museeuw, Tafi and Gianluca Bortolami swept the podium. The team's golden era came to a close in 2003 when Mapei withdrew their sponsorship. However, in their place stepped former Mapei team manager Patrick Lefevre and new sponsor Quick-Step. Despite several team name changes, Quick-Step have remained a steadfast sponsor of one of the best teams in pro cycling right up until the present day. Emerging from the ashes of the T-Mobile doping scandal of 2007, Team High Road, as it was known back then, acquired the sponsorship of Columbia Sportswear and HTC Electronics and enjoyed an incredible run of victories at the Tour de France, with the team building their hopes around a brash young sprinter named Mark Cavendish. It was between the years of 2008 and 2011 where the Manxman won the majority of his total 30 stage wins at the Tour de France, thanks in no small part to a lead-out train including Bernie Eisel and Cab's right-hand man Mark Renshaw. Their tactics were used to devastating effect in the bunch sprints, and we'll always remember that win on the Champs-Élysées in 2009, where both Cavendish and Renshaw had time to raise their arms in celebration, with the rest of the pack trailing in their wake. Despite winning an incredible 49 Grand Tour stages in just 4 seasons, team owner Bob Stapleton had to disband the franchise, having been unable to secure new sponsorship. An abrupt end indeed, but don't feel too sorry for the HTC alumni. The likes of Cavendish, John Degenkolb, Andre Greipel and Tony Martin have all gone on to enjoy pretty successful careers since then. Under the leadership of former rider Cyril Guimard, Renault Gitane, then latterly Renault Elf, were a very big deal in the late 70s and early 80s. A thoroughly French team with a very strong star rider Bernard Hinault. In an era when there wasn't really such a thing as Grand Tour specialists, Le Blaireau not only won 5 editions of the Tour de France, 2 editions of the Giro d'Italia and 2 editions of the Vuelta a España with Renault, he also added a Tour of Lombardy, a Liège-Bastogne-Liège and 2 Paris-Roubaix wins as well. However, we must mention that Renault also housed an impressive set of young riders who went on to big things in the sport. Future sports directors Jean-René Bernadeau and Marc Madiot spent their formative years with the team, so too did Charlie Motte, Laurent Fignon and Greg LeMond. Renault retired from pro cycling sponsorship in 1985, but Cyril Guimard's team lived on under the guises of Système U until 1990 and Castorama until 1995. There you go, 5 teams who, in their own unique ways, helped shape the course of cycling history. Can you name any others that have made a similar impact? Let us know in the comments down below.